What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and Logan Ryan and the New York Giants seems to be heating up. We'll see if it actually happens, but now it's being reported, and I'm going to talk about the exact tweet, but it's being reported by Jordan Ryan that it's no longer speculation. It is definitive that the New York Giants and Logan Ryan have mutual interest, but I'll talk further in detail about that as we go along in the video. Also, I wanted to touch on Prince Amukamura, the former New York Giant first-round draft pick. A lot of people saw that he was released today on Twitter. They got excited. They said that the New York Giants got to take a stab at this guy. So I'll talk about that as well. But we're going to start with Logan Ryan. Yesterday, like I said, I reported on it, and it was speculation by the New York Post, but it made a lot of sense to me, the fact that he changed agents and everything else. It seemed as if he wants to get a deal done as soon as possible, as would be the case. Now, the book on Logan Ryan this entire offseason is that his asking price has been too high, which only makes sense, and I think it's the same thing for Jadeveon Clowney. It's why he hasn't signed on with a football team. Logan Ryan is still a very good player. The New York Giants, we all know, are decimated in the secondary right now. 3 guys that could have potentially been starters are out. One due to the fact that he sat out due to COVID. The other due to the fact that he was arrested. And the other due to the fact that it's an injury with Xavier Mckinney. The reason that I'm so high on Logan Ryan, like I talked about yesterday, is his versatility, and he wouldn't stunt the growth for anybody. He'd also come in as a mentor. The reason that he's not going to stunt the growth for anybody, you play him at the safety spot or the corner, wherever you want to play him, and when McKinney comes back, you could shift him somewhere else. He's a guy that's played all over the football field. Of course, Logan Ryan would have to, be willing to agree to that. The other stipulation that I would want to have as a New York Giant fan, I don't want to sign him to more than a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal with the ability to get out after one. And the reason being is simple. All of us Giants fans know we have a young team and we don't want to stunt the growth. We want these guys to get as much experience as possible to find out what we have. Guys like Julian Love and guys like Xavier McKinney. So if you sign Ryan to a 2 or 3 year deal, well, that's going to create a logjam potentially in that secondary. And he's already said that he doesn't really view himself as an exterior corner anymore. He wants to play more safety due to the fact that he's probably lost a step. But Logan Ryan's definitely a veteran leader that could come in here. And the other thing that it would do, it would make it so the Giants don't have to rush McKinney back. And you don't want to play with that right now. This is a guy that had an injury already in his rookie year. You don't want to be rushing him back. We have a lot of holes in that secondary right now. We really have nobody we could trust outside of Peppers and Bradbury. So the more veterans we could get in here, the better. And the scheme we're going to run, we need as good a coverage as we could possibly get. But let me talk about the quote real quick, posted by Jordan Ryan. My understanding is there is a mutual interest between the Giants and Logan Ryan. The Giants have been monitoring Ryan since the start of free agency. His price is undoubtedly a factor. Giants aren't just going to overpay, even though they are at about $24 million under the cap per ESPN's roster management. So there you have it. The New York Giants have been monitoring Logan Ryan since the beginning of free agency, according to Ryan, who of course works for ESPN for the New York Giants. And I'll tell you what, if the New York Giants are able to get Ryan on a 1-year deal at a cost-effective rate, you would have to give Dave Gettleman a ton of credit. The fact that he's monitored this. I do think Logan Ryan wants to play for the Giants. He's talked about in the past that he would love to play for Joe Judge as a head coach. He loved playing for him with the New England Patriots. He's also talked about wanting to stay close to home. He grew up in New Jersey. He was linked to the New York Jets earlier in the process, if you remember that, before things fell through. I think it's entirely possible that him and the New York Giants could get this done as soon as today. It's got to happen soon. The regular season starts in 12 or 13 days. You got to get him acclimated to the guys in the secondary if he's going to be starting for this unit. And if the Giants are going to be paying him $7, $8, $9, $10 million, well, he's going to be playing for this football team. Of course, the Giants did a great job, Dave Gettleman, in figuring out the market, waiting it out, being patient, and bringing in Marcus Golden for $5 million. If they were able to do the same thing here for Logan Ryan and get him for under what everybody thought would be his market value, I think you'd have to give the New York Giants a ton of credit. So hopefully we're able to bring him in. As far as Prince Amukamura goes, listen, guys, I know that we are desperate for as many corners as we could get, and I am outspoken. I would like to bring in Logan Ryan. Amukamura at this point in time he's a backup corner or a fringe starter at best. Would I be against it for a very cheap deal? No. But the thing you have to ask yourself if you're a Giant fan, is it worth to bring in a guy who last year surrendered a quarterback rating of 105 with a completion percentage of 67 in a pretty strong defense? Is it worth bringing a guy like that in to stunt the growth, or at least find out of whether or not a guy like Corey Ballantyne can play on the outside? or a guy like Julian Love can play on the outside. I don't think he's much of an upgrade at this point in time. Yes, he brings veteran leadership, and yes, it would be a nice story due to the fact that he started with the New York Giants, and I guess he would end his career here. I also think that may be an attractive feature for him to come aboard the New York Giants, being that he played here, and maybe he comes here for a little bit cheaper, but he's not going to have many suitors right now. The guy, I think, is 31 or 32 years old. He's an okay corner. I'm sure he'll sign on somewhere, and maybe it'll be the New York Giants. There's nothing that's linking the two here. He's just a name at a position of extreme need right now for the New York Giants. So we'll see. But there's a number of names still out there in terms of that. If you wanted to bring in a veteran corner, I've talked about a number of them. He probably would not be my first choice. Would I be upset if we brought him in for a couple of $1 million on a one-year deal? No. At a bare minimum, he would provide at least depth for this football team, but I don't really see it happening. If I had to guess, I think Ryan, it looks like there's at least a decent possibility, will be a Giant very soon. I'm not going to bank on Prince Amukamura. Wish him nothing but the best. Of course, he's a former first-round pick for this football team, and he was a decent corner while he was here. But don't expect him here to be wearing New York Giants blue. But you never know. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. I would at least kick the tires, as some people have expressed, but I'm not going to get overly excited. Let's put it that way. Ryan, that would excite me a bit. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.